Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 19.09.01. This will cover the work undertaken between the 3rd of September to the 16th of September. Our sprint goal for this sprint has been to deliver the ability to create invoice documents in bulk from within the back office area. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint we've been able to add the option of an invoice template to the back office area within admin. This includes a standard merge field list and all of the necessary options to allow a user to set up and brand several invoice templates. We've added the ability to generate invoice documents individually and in bulk, utilizing one of those invoice templates within the list invoices area. We've delivered the option of a manual credit, essentially replicating the workflow for a manual invoice but with negative values. We've updated the skills area with the ability to add existing skills to multiple skill parents. We've applied an update to the diary and task creation process with a view to this resolving the issues some clients have been getting when creating diary entries. The searching of histories has been updated, so this can be based on history types and a date range alone. You don't have to add a text phrase anymore. We've added a number of open and new tab, global and user settings to areas including quick search, selection screens, tasks and recent items. And we were planning to add some additional email address validation to the email form, but we ran out of time in this sprint, so this has been carried over. We'll now go for a brief demonstration on the key features from this sprint. Okay, so the first point to go through is the advanced skill parenting feature that's now against skill categories within lookups. To start with, just to go through the fact that as standard it will appear as it does currently. What you'll need to do if you want to enable this option in global settings is go to this section of system. You'll see an option in this list to use advanced skill parenting. And what you can do is set that to yes. And what that will mean is within the lookups area, under skill categories, what you'll see as a new section is this element here of skill parents. So what that's essentially allowing you to do is allocate a skill against multiple parents within your skills dictionary, so that you don't have to essentially recreate the same skill for each of those skill parents. Also, it links that skill with those skill parents so that if you were to amend the description of this skill, it would then affect all of those skill parents. So it works essentially in this way. As the example skill here, within this structure, we've got account manager. On selection of that, you can see that I've got account manager allocated to this parent being accountancy and finance, job titles, and also oil and gas. So if we went to oil and gas as an example, you can see here that we've got account manager in there, and on selection of account manager, you can see that again, it's specifying that these are the current parents of this skill code. The skills alias works on the basis of finding this skill code, obviously regardless of parent, because it's looking for the skill description. And what you can do is simply highlight if you want to add this skill to another parent, for example. So if we add this to analytics and we press on that plus button there, you'll see analytics be added. These are listed in alphabetical order. If we now went to the analytics skill code, you'll see in there you've got account manager, and again you've got obviously all of the different skill parents associated. On selection of that, you could just press bin off that, and it will obviously remove that from the skill parent. And you can see obviously that on removal of it, it will obviously take it out of the skill code. Be mindful that as you do this, it's obviously going to affect the skills library. If you have any existing records in the system that are allocated to that skill, when you are removing it from that parent, then that skill is going to be removed from that record. So there is obviously consequence for deleting the skills out of associated parents, and you can only delete back to the original source or to one skill parent. You won't be able to delete it out of all skill parents. You delete it for that scenario, you would just delete the lookup entirely. Also, what you can do is select a skill parents and actually put a skill parents within another skill parent. So as an example here, if we select accountancy finance and we add that to analytics, so you can see here its current parent is root, which is to say it's obviously on the main list of skills, but we've now added it to the skill parent as a skill parent to analytics. So if we go into analytics, you can see there that we've got accounting and finance as well in there, and you can obviously see that all of the skills, child skills for accounting and finance are also there within. And if we want to remove that, we can select there, press the bin, and obviously it removes it out of the tree structure. So that's the update that's been made in relation to how you would categorize and add different skills against different parents. If you're essentially in a situation where you want to repeat a skill in multiple areas throughout the skills dictionary. With regards to the search, just to highlight how this works again, with regards to the skill code, if you are searching on just the skill code and you select on a skill and you hit add, what we are searching on when we do this search, if we're on the basis of skill code, is we're searching for just the instance of this skill within this skill parent. Obviously, using this new feature, you may assign this skill to multiple skill parents, but if you're searching by skill code, you're only searching for an instance where this skill has been added under this parent. And obviously it's only then going to find records where that's been set. If you set this to skill description, it's going to find, you can see that the found count's been increased there, it's going to find all instances of that skill throughout your skills dictionary, looking for, in this instance, account manager. So that's just how the skill criteria will work, and that's how the skills category will work. But again, just to highlight that you need to go to global settings and enable this and to use the advanced skill parenting option before you can see this skill parents option in there. And also obviously the skill parents can be within parent. A parent could be within a parent, could be within a parent. It allows for a significant hierarchy in that respect if you want to use the skills dictionary in that way. But if you have any questions on this, please get in touch. But that's the skill parenting feature that's now available within the system. The next point to go through is the update that's been made in relation to history searching from within the search area. So previously, when doing a history search, the example being a candidate history search, selection of text criteria, when you select history here, you're given a list of different history codes that you can search against based on what you've selected to be searchable. And example, if I just select email here, what you previously would have had to have done is enter in a search term in order for that search to be activated. You need to be looking for a specific text within the history record of an email history type for it to be found. What we've now done is have it so that all you have to do is specify the date range so that it does that search. So if I look for, and I'll do it from, say, 1st of February to today's date. What that's essentially done is it's looked for all of the candidate records on the system, looking at the histories, and it's found that we've got 93 candidates on the system where there's been an email logged against them within this date range. And that's essentially the crux of the update. You can obviously refine that further if you wanted to specify perhaps a certain search phrase within there to filter that down. But on the basis of just wanting to do a generic or blank search and just seeing whether or not an email has been sent within that date range, you can now do that. And it can obviously be used as another form of kind of activity tracking within the system for that. Just to revisit how you can go about with these history types, how you can go about making these searchable within the admin area under lookups and history codes. On selection of a history, you've got this option here for allow selection, yes, no. And if that option is set to yes, then that history code is going to be searchable in this list. So if you want to add any histories off the back of this update, if you want to add any histories to this within the history codes, just set that allow selection to yes, and they'll be searchable within this area. And then obviously you can use the searching in this updated way. That's the update we made there. The next point to go through is the opening new tab settings that have been added throughout the system in various different areas. So within global settings and also user settings, as the area that I'm in currently, under the section of system, what you'll see are these new options that have been made available. So open quick search results in new tab. You've got yes, no options that are available here. And what that essentially means is when you're in any of these areas, if you click on a result or a record, it opens that record in a new tab, as opposed to either needing to right click and open a new tab, or as opposed to when you're clicking on the record, it actually taking you into the record within that same tab. We've got a lot of requests certainly off the back of quick search results and selection screens, where users would want to have that selection screen still remain open in a tab, but have the results when they click on them open in new tabs. So you can now do that. If we these are all set to yes, so if we now went to a quick search result as the example, we can just select a record here and it opens in a new tab. If I wanted to select on reports as another example, you could just hit reports. You get that report option available, but you still have the main tab open there. If you want to keep that separate. If you were in recent items as another example, you can obviously just select a record here and it will open in a new tab. If you wanted to, you get the idea. If you're in a company record and you select it on a contact, it will open in a new tab. And essentially all those options have been made available as global settings if you want it to be a default, but also as user settings if you have a personal preference to a certain area, having the ability to be able to open that record into a new tab. So those are the options that have been available there. The last point to cover is just where we are with the back office functionality within the system. As part of the previous sprint, we've been working on the list invoices area, specifically the print invoices function, and also the manual invoice and manual credit as features are both now fully functional. If I just quickly go into the admin area, just to show where we are with that. So within the admin area under the back office row, we now have a new section for templates. And these are specifically for invoice templates that you wish to generate. So invoice templates and also payment advice, payments remittance templates as well can be set up within this area. And then within back office, if I go into list invoices, what we're essentially working towards, if I change the invoice date, we've obviously been testing the manual invoice and manual credit components. So we've got quite a few manual invoices generated, but what you essentially be able to do is select an invoice or select multiple invoices, go to print an invoice, and then within here you'll be able to select a template, one of your invoice templates essentially that you've set up, and then hit OK. And then what that does is it generates obviously documents that are then held against those invoice records as invoices. We've got obviously a printed date flag, which is obviously set against the invoice record when you've printed. And you've also got an edit document option here if you want to edit the invoice document, and also a download document option that's added as well if you've run this workflow. We're working towards the edit invoice component, so that would be a means to be able to select an invoice, hit edit, and you'll be able to see the contents of the invoice document, plus also a preview of the invoice document that's been generated. And we're also updating the print invoices function to add in the option to choose between a PDF or a docx file in terms of the invoice document that you're generating, and also whether or not you want to print immediately, so whether or not you want to prompt the process to print to your printer. We're also going to be working in the means to be able to send the invoice as well. So if you want to select a batch of invoices, having a send invoice option, which would obviously send an email or generate an email to be sent out to those registered invoice contacts, and essentially attach the invoice document to that email. So we have obviously a series of updates still pending, but hopefully this gives an idea of where we are in terms of this workflow. And essentially what we believe is that we're nearing the end in terms of that functionality, in terms of the invoice element. The payments element we'll go through obviously as well, but that is essentially a kind of a mirror image of the sales invoice. So that component will be finished relatively quickly following the completion of the sales invoices element. So we're still looking to have it delivered over the course of going through September and October to have things finished off. But essentially we believe that we've delivered the majority of this functionality now. So it'll be exciting when we finally get to obviously push it out to the client base. I know many are asking after it, but that's an update we've made there. As always, if you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the support team or directly to me using the above email address. The next video will be the sprint plan for 19.09.02, and as always, that will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during that sprint. Thanks for watching.